Hello and welcome back to Middle Age Gamer. It's been an absolute minute. Now, before we get started with the video today, I just want to have a quick update on the channel. It's been a minute again, like I say, since the last video. Sadly, with family issues and emergencies rising, the joys of being a new YouTuber. Basically, it's put a delay on the Halo 5 playthrough. Now, I will react today. This is Halo Infinite. It's my thoughts. I recently finished the main campaign today. I'm just currently going through finding all the collectibles and getting ready to do its legendary run through. I wasn't sent an early copy, which again we'll get into in this. In the background, I'm just going to play the trailer because I don't want to play any footage from the game just yet, because there's a lot of people that have actually just got the game over the weekend or that haven't even played it yet. It's still new, so I don't want to show footage of the game and spoil it for other people. I only want to show what's actually out there that people can actually see. So with that said, I'm going to start playing the just the trailer in the background and let it keep playing. And yeah, basically it's one of those that Halo Infinite, what do I think? Well, let's go back to the beginning. My thoughts on the initial launch for Halo Infinite and the thoughts on the game are actually two separate things. The game itself, which we're all interested in, the campaign is amazing. It does for Halo what the rebooting of the Modern Warfare franchise did. When Modern Warfare came out a few years ago and dominated it and changed Call of Duty, this has done that. It's as good as that. The graphics are top notch. There are some very, very big graphical glitches, such as pop-in, which is minor to some, but it's, you know, in this day and age, pop-in, especially with a graphics engine that's had over 3 years of development, you know, prior to them even starting the game, things should have been in place already. These are just like questions. We saw that with the trailer a year ago where everyone was saying it looked like a 360 game, which was a bit harsh. It just looked like Halo, and that's the thing. What people don't understand with games is if you want to make a game in that genre, you've got to make it look like that genre, and when it does, no matter how cool the graphics are, I mean, you can look at this, just flying a wasp, it looks stunning. And, you know, again, they were showing a not ready, and that's something we've found with background stuff, that the game was just not ready, you know. And I think that's the issue that we're currently living with now, is things are just not right, you know, in that respect. Now, like I say, going back to the launch, I'm like everyone else. On the 8th at midnight, leading up to there, people were saying, oh yeah, on PC you can pre-install the campaign. No, you can't. They were saying you could do it on the console via the Xbox app. If you do this, you do that. It was one of those crazy things, you know, that, to be honest, I just think it's wrong what they did. You know, the issues came up. There were server issues, delay issues, gameplay glitches, and so on that came through because of the download. Everyone's downloading at the same time, which had bugs. Some people I've heard have had to reinstall the game, you know, and it was just a mess, an absolute mess. And for me, that sums 343. They are an amazing team. They are one of the best developers out there, and they have such an amazing, you know, IP that, you know, many other companies would be like on their hands and knees to own this. And it just seems like the decisions they make are really good, but they execute really poorly. And I'm sorry, but Phil Spencer needs to look at this team and say, hey, you know what, we need to make some harsh calls, you know, with direction. Yeah, no more outsourcing of things. I mean, I watched the trailer, the credits, today, and at the end I found out that Coalition actually made some of this, you know, were involved in it. And, you know, you got Dead Labs, you know, Undead Labs, should I say. You know, there's a lot of other companies that were involved in it that you wouldn't get credit unless you read the credits at the end, you know? And you're like, well, that is a mess. And again, this is something that's all it's developed. Now, pick all that rubbish up and throw it in the bin, because we're going to talk about the game now, which is basically phenomenal. Is it big? Yes. Is it fun to play? Yes. Does it have the very one thing that Bungie always, I would say, came up with? The 30 seconds of fun. And repeat, repeat, repeat. Well, that is basically what you get. It's just phenomenal. Not once did I get bored with unlocking, what's it called, forward operating bases. Not once did I get bored with destroying the banish operations on the ring. Going around finding weapons crates and unlocks for the multiplayer or for the campaign augmentation for Spartan cores. If anything, I felt like I had all these cores left over. I'm sure I've got a few left over in my actual inventory that I can't do because there's nothing to use them on, you know. And it's like, I think this thing's missing, you know. But you know, this is the thing that we're all looking for, you know. Like, what do we do with it? Where do we go from here? And all this stuff, you know. Do you get bored? Do you not? No, it's just a great game to play. Like I say, when it works, which is 99% of the time, it's amazing. I think there was the odd little bit in between where I was like, I think it was the boss fights, if anything. There was two that just, how can I say, became a little bit of a grind. Like, unnecessarily difficult. Even on normal setting, which is weird because by the time I started these bosses, I was fully upgraded on my shields, fully upgraded on my everything basically. I had loads of Spartan cores left over, and there's nothing I can do. You know? And the story's got beats are brilliant, and the game itself just gets to a point where there are just two boss fights, and I would say, you know, like, the end got a little bit just tedious, and yet they were nailing it so far up to it, and that I would say would only drop it by 2%. If I had to give it a score, it's a 9.8. It's definitely by far the best Halo they've ever created. It takes everything that we loved from the first actual Halo game, and you know, again, people talk about the missions, and for me it was the first mission on the ring where you're going around finding stuff. It felt like that, but on steroids. The fun was there. I mean, for me, I'd just like to see, if I was to add anything, I would say I want the Hornet back. I want questions. That's the other thing I will say with this game. This will leave you with questions quite a lot more than you think. Yes, it has a nice ending to it, you're like whatever, but you do get to the point where there's a heck of a lot of questions that need answering that they won't answer, according to Bungie, I say Bungie for 343, for 10 years. Because this is the last main Halo game for 10 years, which I don't think so, considering this game's not over yet, you know? And that's one thing I will say, you know? This game, the fight isn't over. Chief is an amazing character, and they're not just going to get rid of it, if you get what I mean. So, yeah, I think what we should all do now is buy the game, play it. Please, I love Hidden Xperia, I love Halo Follower, well, not so much, but you get what I mean. Halo Follower's got some things on there when he's not brown-nosing other YouTubers like Sean W. You know, and then coming up with the really aggressive hate in the respect that he's always complaining about the multiplayer being free, because that's the other side I'm going to get to in a minute. I'm only talking right now about the campaign. Multiplayer is free, and it's not really, to me, part of this. Pay what you paid for.
But this wasn't the mission.
But, you know, there are YouTubers out there, but just ignore any of their videos for now and play the game yourself. Ignore me to some extent if you have to, but just buy the game, play it, whether it's a couple of years from now when you start looking at these videos for the first time and you've never played Halo Infinite because you've heard X, Y, and Z, don't. The game is amazing, it plays phenomenal, it is one of the best, how can I say this, fun games that you can literally pick up and play and absolutely enjoy. I found I'd go on at 8 o'clock at night, for instance, and the next thing I know, I'd look at the clock and it's midnight or near enough midnight, and I'm having to come off to deal with family. You know, it's like, because you are so engrossed in the game. And for a game to do that in this day and age, there's not that many, you know. And like I say, I do want to give a shout out to the music of this. I know Marty O'Donnell wasn't involved in the game, but he bloody well is there in spirit, if anything. The music of this game takes his score and just dials it up. You know, it is just phenomenal. And like I say, go through it, do it on normal. It's difficult enough. People say, oh, you don't need these things, you can get through. No, maybe if you're a crack Halo, you know, gameplay expert and so on, you can just do anything really, really quickly. Maybe, yeah, you won't use half the equipment. But I found I was using it because that's really where I wanted it to go, you know. I wanted to use this and I wanted to enjoy it and just sort of like go for it, you know. But that's just me. I love the story they tell, although I do feel like every Halo, it just seems to be a bit short compared to what's going on. But most of the game, you're enjoying it on the open world, which has its own story. There's a lot of radio signals and messages, which, again, that's another reason why I don't want to go into too much, because I want to actually find it and have the answers for you guys out there and girls. But yes, please, my advice to you, this is astounding. It is pick up, play, it's a necessity in your game library. Give it a shot, and once you've done the campaign, then go on to multiplayer, because you'll understand why I would say in a second that multiplayer is awesome. It's Halo, but that's definitely not finished yet. Okay, which, why not, you know. Let's get into it here right now. Halo's multiplayer. It released first. It was released on the what was it, the 15th of November. We've had a few weeks to bash it out. The multiplayer as a core is amazing. It's Halo. It's got great premise, but it is still not finished yet. There's no game type select on rank. I would say rank on big team battle, for instance. You can't say, oh, I want to do a big team battle of capture the flag, for instance, or any of its modes like that, and then separate so that those that just want to play Slayer can go and play. You can't do that. Like, change your preference. Like some games, it allows you to say, I want to play Slayer games, and that's it. Which is awesome, you know, but you can't do that yet. They've announced it. There's a lot of issues with the game itself. It's some connection issues, lagging issues, but it's just the whole progression system was another thing that was just like, they didn't want to put a traditional rank like Halo 3 where you've got the what was it, like the medals that told you what rank you had, from lieutenant or private, lieutenant, and all these first, second class grades in between, then up to captain, chief, and what have you, all the way up to admiral, I believe it was. And then you just sort of like went through them all again, you know, like admiral second class, admiral third class, and so on. Which I would love if they brought that back, so that while you're playing, you're always ranking up something, and then have the progression system, as in the Game Pass, separate. They won't, because it is free to play and it's their money maker. But if they're going to do it the way that they've done it, you've got to go to the store side to look at a compromise here. And I looked at the store. When you're paying £17 UK, which is like $20 for an armor core, and that doesn't necessarily include the actual coating that you want. It could just be the basic, because if you've got a coating, once you've used it, it's locked to that armor. That's it now. So you're forever paying $9.99, I believe they are, for armor coatings in UK. So that's like $15 US for a freaking armor coating here in the UK. And then you've got guns which are like $7.99 or what have you. It's just stupid money. You know, they're way overpriced. It should be $4.99 for an armor core set which includes the basic color, you know, coatings with it like red, blue, green, and so on, and then allow you 99p for every coating thereafter, unless it's a legendary. That's 199, you know, sort of stuff, armor coating, something really special, maybe related to red versus blue, which I would love more input in, you know, in this game. Putting little references throughout would be fun, you know, things like that. But it is just way too overpriced. It's really, really nasty, and you know, I believe that that is 343 trying to get their cake and eat it moment. And you know, I do think that Phil Spencer should actually get them bound and say, hey, whoa, whoa, whoa. You know, I'm head of Xbox, this is an Xbox game, this is our baby, cut it down. You want more money, you come to us, because this is the thing, it's not like, for instance, Call of Duty. Right? Call of Duty is Activision's baby, yes, but the teams themselves earn money in a way. Or I'm trying to think, maybe like scratch that. Like you're looking at any of these other first persons, like EA. Oh, what was it now? Apex Legends and things like that. You know, 343 is really financed and supported by Microsoft themselves and Xbox. Okay, they don't need to ask for money. These microtransactions are not needed at such an egregious amount. They need to turn it back. You know, they need to turn it down, bring it to realistic. Like I say, charms 99p, armor coatings maximum 199, but 99p would be great for those. You know, and like I say, armor cores can be different, and just leave it like that. You'll find that more people, with the state the game's in right now, would be more inclined to pay that sort of money, because the game's in a precarious state, to be honest with you. And I know it'll get fixed, but what I hate is seeing games like Apex Legends. It came out, it was broken, and it needed time to fix. PUBG was another one. It came out, it was broken. It took over a year to get that thing fixed. You know, No Man's Sky was a single player, and we all saw what happened. And yeah, we know, like, No Man's Sky got good in the end, but it's still way too long to wait, and especially for such a title like this. This should have no problems. There are a few games on Xbox, for instance, like Sony with Uncharted, for instance, that should launch perfect day one. This shouldn't be an issue, because these are what you and I call the flagship, you know? And I think the flagship is more important, you know, to have its backing and so on, and they need to be the least egregious. Let the smaller companies that get less money from the big developers charge a little bit extra for their loot boxes in order that they get the money, because it's understandable there. But when you're paying £55 for a UK game, you know, or I should say, UK money for an amazing Xbox game that's first party, you shouldn't be charging me so much, you know? But yes, I can tell you now that in the end, it's an amazing title. It's got its issues with multiplayer, but the single player is great. There's one thing I did notice though. I have the Halo Infinite headset from Razer, which is like £180, $200 headset. And for some reason, playing Halo, it has sound issues. And I was not the only one. I've looked. It's other people, not just with Razer, but they've been using any headset. The sound starts to crackle like crazy and becomes distorted at certain points, and that's apparently optimization in the game. It's something the game's equalizer is not optimized correctly. Yeah, that's the thing. This is a first party headset, i.e. Razer's Halo Infinite special limited edition headset for them tie-in, and they have this issue. Something I will tell everyone, you know, be aware. I'm trying to work around and find a fix myself, but you know, as yet, that's just going to take a while to find, and hope that they can do one. But like I say, all in all, the game as a whole package, if you take the free multiplayer as a bonus, the campaign itself is a 9.8. It's the best campaign I've seen in a long time. It fixes Halo 5's issues. and dials them up, but it leaves you with so many questions unanswered that's the 2% I think I would knock off it, you know, or the 0.2% should say, is the sheer fact that it does leave a lot of unanswered questions, like, you know. But you'll understand when you play it yourself. As always, this has been Middle Aged Gamer, and look forward to more playthrough videos coming up soon where we play it together. I will wait till next week to start uploading videos like that, just because I don't want to see it spoiled for other people. So with that said, have a great